Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here with the inexorable word nerd, right?
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
No
My name is
problem.
Ryan Tyler Palmer.
Right,
Uh,
Ryan Tyler
my
Palmer.
parents should have named me this, though. It rolls off the tongue, you know.
Yes. And I can't even talk today. I'm so sorry. I have a cold, everybody. I'm still.
No, my terrible joke messed you up. No, please take some time to recover and
Yeah, I know.
then continue.
You've wounded me. No, I always try to treat every video as if it's somebody's first video. So introduce yourself. Who are you, and what do we do in comic book wise?
Oh, thank you so much. My name is Ryan Tyler Palmer. I am a writer, creator, artist, and project manager for a high-end comic book studio out of Florida. They specialize in sequential art, and they do professional freelance work for individuals. And I got in with these fellas and took the opportunity to work hard. And we're releasing a comic book. We've done some work, some showcase books, and we've contributed. I've done tabletop gaming for an independent company. Worked with some really good guys. I got the opportunity to edit work from guys like Tim Kask, who created Dragon Magazine. Who else was it? There were a couple other fellas. The fellow who wrote Deities and Demigods, Jim Ward. He's a good friend of mine.
Wow.
We talk on the phone periodically. Yeah, I got to work with some really cool.
Of that book. That book changed my life. We'll talk about that later. Oh,
I love that book myself, and I have it. I have an extensive Dungeons and Dragons.
I can't contain myself. We got to talk about the DDs and Demigods. All right, we'll go right into it. So first, we were talking a little bit before we went live, and I am a big Dungeons and Dragons fan. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since the Red Box, and I stopped at second edition. And that DDs and Demigods, I must have pored over that book a million times. I was fascinated by it, and I was obsessed with reading all of the primary sources that were quoted in that book. That book got me interested in Eric of Melnibone, Cthulhu, Fritz Lieber's Fafnir and Grey Mouser, and of course, I went into that already loving Greek mythology, but I was reading the Kalvalov with the Finnish mythology. So yeah, you just got me to you got me to geek. You got me monologuing, you sly dog. Talking about that book. So man, I'm really impressed. I love that book.
It's a great honor that
I'm sorry, I just hijacked your thread.
No, I love this. The reason why I wanted to come here. No, the reason why I wanted to come here is because I could tell that you have a lot of passion for entertainment, for the craft. I saw it in other live streams. So this is a really cool honor. No, please don't apologize. I love that. I love that book as well. And I think it's cool that you recognize that Jim Ward's very talented. He is a very cool creator and a talented writer, and it was a cool honor for me to get to write for this company and get to work, get to essentially see the bare bones of tabletop gaming from that angle. They were doing subscription crates and whatnot, mailing monthly subscriptions and doing source books, and they had a crowdfund that was finished that I was working on. So it was a very cool opportunity coming up to get paid. And we were paid handsomely to work and write and also edit work, bare work from guys like that who have so much experience and have so much still to share. It was a great experience. And so off the back of that, I started creating my own work. And this is an adaptation of my novel. So I have sorry about the screaming guy.
That's okay. There's just casual murders in the background.
I have kids, so that's normal around here. You always hear it. Always sounds like there's an axe murderer in the house.
I'm one of 7. I've heard that sound growing up my whole life.
Yeah, you get used to it if you have kids. I've been a dad for almost 2 decades now, so yeah, you totally get used to it. It just becomes the norm. But this is my own work. I started as a novel writer.
What's the title? I'm having difficulty reading it just from the lighting.
This book is, I can see if I can get it in there. Yeah, it's Havard Saints 8, Federal Offensive Responders, U.S. Division. It's incredibly long.
And how do I get that?
Here, how can you get this? We're going to be going live Sunday with the mailing list for this. We're going live on Indiegogo.
Great. So, send me the links. Send me the links, and I'll put it in the description so everybody who watches this can check it out.
That'll be great. It'll be a little bit more. I'm waiting on my video editor friend to finish the video so that we have something to show with it, and then we're going to open up the mail.
I can always edit it when you're ready.
Signed up.
I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to check out everybody's work. I love comic books. I love people making comic books. I think this is so freaking exciting.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yes, this the title is incredibly long. It's Hayward Saints 8 was, I couldn't decide on the name, and so I had 3 names picked out. It was like Howard, Saint, and I think I had Hayden, and I had a couple other things that just were not working. So I combined the 3 names that I had at the top of the list and made my own name. And I think it's just kind of ache into one of those things where parents want to give their child a unique name that nobody else has. So it's not going to be familiar to look at, but it's definitely going to be at the top of the list of your search engine optimization. So when
it's unique.
So as we keep going, it's very unique, and it's going to be a one of a kind. And it's just like, I think this title is a one of a kind. Nobody's doing a book like this, John. This book, absolutely, links are good. We will get links out after we get the campaign live on Sunday. You guys are going to love this book.
Yeah, Marcus is my moderator. That's why he's asking.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we'll definitely have a link for you. We're just a little bit early on it, but this book is completely finished. So it's going to be a finished book on launch. This is the proof copy here.
Oh, wow.
So
I like the inside. The inside looks great.
Thank you, sir. We'll go into the pages. All the pages are done, and I have the drive open, so we can go in depth, and you can see the artwork up close.
And you drew that?
No, I am the writer and creator of this, and I have drawn the original artwork, and I designed all the characters, but I hire out because we want a sequential specialist. It's a skill, and so we we want to hire for that skill. And we wanted to give you the best.
I
hired someone better than me.
Nobody wants to see my artwork. So
it's not easy. People try to cut corners and things, but the greats are the ones that develop that skill. And we've got
you want good food, you go to a good restaurant. You want good art, you hire a good artist. Yeah,
if you want a good comic book, you come to Autobomb Books, and that's
you are a pro. You are a pro. That wasn't even rehearsed. That just happened.
Well, this is by design, John. We've been working at this for a long time, and our guys have been doing this for a long time. This book, although it's not getting the press that you would think for a title like this, but as far as the comic book industry, our book is collectively #1 for years of publishing experience. Nobody has a team experience. Nobody is making a book like this, even the big publishers. We've got over 2 centuries of collective comic book and publishing experience. We've got talents like Ed Greenwood involved, who created Forgotten Realms. The world that he created was the inspiration for the recent Dungeons and Dragons film. It was a big hit. They've made almost 24 video games from his work.
They did. Forgotten Realms is
he was working over at this gaming company that I was working at, and I wasn't editing his work specifically, but he's my childhood writing hero. And after our contracts were not renewed, I approached him and had him on my channel, and we hit it off. And I got him to read my raw scripts. I have 4 issues planned. This is the first. He read all 4 issues, and he gave me his opinion, and I asked for it in writing for the fans so we could have a guarantee. He compared the scripts of Hayward Saints 8 to a stirring symphony written by an old master. This is a man who's been publishing for 50 years, and he's the most prolific fantasy writer alive today. You are in for a treat when you pick up this book. It's going to be a proud part of your collection. We also have Ed Dukeshire, who's the creator of Digital Webbing. He also created Blood Rain. He's working currently over at Boom Studios as a letterer, and he's a publisher himself for indie many years. Many people, including John Malin, got a start at Digital Webbing, many others. So we've got Bart Sears, who did a tribute piece for the original artist for this book. Dheeraj Verma's last published work is in this book as well. If you're not familiar with Dheeraj Verma, he did the first 14 issues of Lady Death for Brian Pulido. He did Fall of Cybertron for IDW Transformers that got the game adaptation of the same name. He worked at Activision. He did Conan. This is featuring his last published work. He was a studio friend. He was the original artist on this Dheeraj Verma. And unfortunately, when we originally launched in 2021, he became ill with COVID and developed pulmonary fibrosis and didn't make it. And he was a dear friend. And so we canceled the launch, and I regrouped and hired a couple of guys and had to fire some, and had trouble finding somebody to do this book the way that we wanted. But We found Andre Lunatic, who is the guy who took over where Jared Verma left off, and he absolutely nailed this story. He's story oriented. He's very skilled as far as sequential storytelling, and he was the best. Great fit, and this book turned out better than expected. But Bart Sears did the tribute piece, which is shown here. Every backer is going to get this. This is the tribute piece for Jared Verma, my friend, who was credited as the first native Indian to work in Western mainstream comics. And so his last message to his fan base on his social media, we took that and used it to inspire this 2-page spread by Bart Sears, who's a legend himself. If you're familiar with Bart, I know you're familiar with Bart Sears, John, but
not personally, but I'm familiar with his work. Yeah,
absolutely. He he worked on Exo Man of War, and he worked on Conan, and he was an instructor at Kubert School for illustration, and it was a wonderful honor to get to collaborate with him on this piece. So we've got some muscle on this book. We got Mickey Clausen, who worked over at Disney, Marvel. He worked on the original Fist of Justice book with Ed Dukeshire. He's a member of our studio, Mickey Clausen, and then Jesse Hansen inked it. He's former Marvel inker. We've got some dudes who know what they're doing and have been doing this for a very long time.
Did you just mention?
Oh, I met Mickey Clausen.
Okay.
And then he worked with Ed Dukeshire on Fist of Justice, which was co-created by Ed Dukeshire as well.
Cool. Wow, you got a lot of big talent on your comic. Good for you.
A lot of dudes, absolutely. Well, yeah. I'll tell you, John, it's a great honor to work with them, but I'm not connected. I'm a nobody. Like, I talk about all these things, and it's very hard, and I'm essentially working alone. I've got all of this talent, and the way that I got these people to work with me is I let them read my work. I'm an inexorable word nerd, and that name rings true throughout my career. I'm wordy, and I'm a geek, and I love this shit. And people read my work, and it's unique. They either want to hire me or work with me when they read it. And so I've built everything on this from hard work to improve my craft. I talked with people who are professionals, was able to gain their respect through my quality of writing. And now this project is my passion, and it's the comic book that I want to read that doesn't exist.
Yeah. So if you're not excited about it, then how am I going to get excited about it? So you're doing the right thing, Right,
Thanks,
write a comic book that you feel is exciting. Yeah,
I hate talking about myself too. It's so hard.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't want to bore people by talking about all of this stuff. But I was saying, like, it feels so long.
I dig that. I people keep asking me to. I'll go on other people's channels and like talk about your comic. I'm like, you get gun shy. You know what I mean? But you have to. I understand. Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, it's a hard balance, and I have a hard time with it because I'm a geek and I'm a shut-in. I like to sit in my dungeon and just write and play video games and read books. And
it's funny
you have to be able to get out there
because so many.
It feels quite a bit alone. I was mentioning how it feels like I have these guys that are very experienced, and then I talk about them, and it just seems like there's no real place that I fit in. Like there's the woke culture that we have nowadays is not a meritocracy. It's not based on skill or merit. And so a book like this with guys who are tried and true doesn't impress people like that. And then you try to fit in. We're hardcore indie, and we believe in independent and building something new that's apart from all this culture that's emerged now. And that isn't always popular because we're essentially competition coming into this, and it's just hard to find a place to fit in. The media has completely ignored us, in spite of the fact that our team is collectively the most published on planet Earth. And independent outlets, it's been kind of the same because there's just like these YouTube circles, and there's these people have these cliques, and that has been essentially ruling the day. In the end, nobody owes me anything, which is true, but we're advocates for our culture and for meritocracy. And I think that that's where we need to get to fix culture. I think that if we can get to a point where people's merit and the quality of the work is what's going forward, like things used to be, then entertainment will right itself and fix itself. And independent.
I think we're turning a corner now. I think we're on the cusp of a pendulum shift, and it's about freaking time.
I think people are definitely more aware. You're right, John, and it's recent events have shown that, and the fans have a hand in that, where they're not supporting this stuff just based on narrative, and they're not afraid to go online and talk about something, whether it's a well-known IP or a well-known publisher or entertainment company that's releasing it. They're not afraid to call them out on it and say, you guys release trash. Like, this isn't what we want. And so it is starting to turn the corner, like you say.
I hope so, man.
But at the same time, you know, with independent, the way that we win this culture war is that independent steps up and offers a true alternative, and it has to be a meritocracy, or else we're not going to turn that corner, because we're going to do the same thing. If you're shilling crap because somebody's your friend, and you're shilling crap because it's the popular thing to put out, in the end, you take 10 years from now and you take that shiny turd that somebody put in your lap, and you hand that to somebody and they read it, they're not going to care about who was popular at the time. They're not going to care about who your friends were at the time. They're going to look at it objectively for what it is. And
I agree with you. I think that crowdfunding, I have problems with crowdfunding. I don't think it's the perfect solution. But one of the best things about crowdfunding is it separates the wheat from the chattel. Is that the right word? You know what I mean? The cream will rise to the top, because I've seen so many, and I'm not going to mention names, mainstream people that really shouldn't have been hired or working for the big two. They reached out to a Kickstarter, and it failed, because, you know, without the big corporation to back them up, they have to rest on themselves. And, you know, I don't have to buy it. You know what I mean? They don't have Warner Brothers movie or Disney, Warner Brothers money and Disney money behind them.
I think that's a great place to make the correlation, and that's what we're essentially talking about, is the people who are at the top and the influencers. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry about the cough.
No, sorry about that. Go ahead. I didn't want to lose my place, because that was a very important point that you made, that people should be aware of. When you make that correlation of what we were talking about with Marvel and DC being the influencers in the mainstream industry, our independent influencers need to step up and take that place and make those steps for creators to move us towards a meritocracy. If not, you're making the same mistake. If you're shilling things because they're your friends and you have a circle and you want people to do well, I want people to do well. I want people to make money.
Don't shill anything because of your friends, unless it's me. Then you can shill me.
Yeah, I mean, we all want to make money. You know what I mean? That's what it is. It's not something about that. I would never be jealous of someone else's money. I don't need money. I was seed funded. This book is seed funded, and we work hard and we're good with money here. And my bills are in order, and what we own is in order. We don't need money. Like, I'm not desperate in this. We want to make a statement. I wanted to make the coolest fucking comic book in the industry, and we've done that. And ultimately, this is going to depend. How healthy the market is going to depend on how well we do directly, because if people want quality, then you've got quality here. You've got the guys who proved it behind it. So, you know, it's the same thing. If you're going to say mainstream is dropping the ball and they're bastardizing our favorite hobbies, which they are, John, you know, they're doing it with comic books, like you mentioned. They're doing it with Dungeons and Dragons over at Hasbro. The recent film was very well received, and I think it was a combination of the directors took the reins and they stayed close to the source material. They did a good job portraying it. And it was based on my boy's work. You know what I mean? Ed Greenwood knows what he's doing. He's a world building master. They're smart to stay with what's good and stay in merit. That's why all these games are based on Forgotten Realms, because Ed is so good at what he does. I mean, essentially, he revolutionized tabletop gaming, jumping in at second edition and creating Forgotten Realms. And them licensing it. Look how many games they made. They made almost 24 games from that work. Like, that's smart, and go with what people like. It's tried and true. You can do adaptations of it, but work with the original guys. You know, we're not getting that. The brand wants recognition for the IP and for canon. And so mainstream can learn, like independent can learn from that and see that we want to be a meritocracy. We don't want to shill crap because we're no better than them. It's not going to improve culture. It's going to put money in people's pockets, but it's not going to do anything to improve our culture. And ultimately, the backers are paying the price more ways than one, not only with their wallets, but also they're paying for it with their disappointment.
Yeah. I can't really disagree with anything you said. And
sorry, brother. I know that was a little bit hard nosed. We can do something fun now.
No. I
feel
can't
like I got a
disagree.
big weight off my chest.
That's a, yeah. Yeah. Whew. Compressed. It's cool. We're amongst friends. So I just wanted to finish my thought. I think the crowdfunding is good in the fact that you're going to see the cream rise to the top. We're going to have no room for no time for meritocracy or I'm buying this for my friends. That's only going to go so far. You know, I'm going to buy stuff for my friends, but that's not going to make it a success enough. And the other thing that now I lost my train of thought. Jeez, I was going to say I lost now. I'm
No, you were talking about you're going to buy things from your friends, but
right.
also
I'm saying what you were saying is if you're going to support your friend, I said of course I'm going to buy my friend's comic. Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say, but that's not going to make or break a campaign. But but the other thing is jealousy. I think in this scene there's a lot of jealousy, and I pay it no mind. Like to me, I love the fact that Eric July is making $3 million a comic. I love the fact that Cyberfrog is doing so well, and Dan Fraga and all these guys, because it just shows you the potential that guys like us could make. You know what I mean? Like your comic looks awesome. I hope your comic. I hope you could buy a house with the money you make from your. That's not taking anything away from me. Comic book fans, we got some disposable money, and we're not buying Marvel and DC anymore. So let's throw some of that money our way. Good.
Yeah, I think that those are great examples. The people that you mentioned obviously are doing very well, and they're very popular. People love. I watch these streams. The thing is, you mentioned Eric July. I like the fact that he is making a lot of money, and he has a lot of influencers that are behind him that are very popular. Influencers is great, but it has been even between the fans themselves, like they've admitted that the books needed some work and there's improvement to issue 2. He's making money because of his popularity, which is smart to use the money to create something that he's passionate about, which is great. I'm not really sure if I agree with the fact that he's got Marvel and DC running scared because I don't
know about that. But
remains to be seen.
That's a lot of
that's probably the hype.
Wish fulfillment by the fans, and that's fun too.
Absolutely.
If my comic does well, I'm going to be like, yeah, I got Marvel on the run. That's hyperbole to create more excitement. Now,
absolutely, and that's great when you're excited about it, and then you're creating something out of passion. I think that the fan base was struggling. I think the fan base was struggling to determine whether it was a coherent story up until that point. I think there were mistakes made in the story, and they were pointed out. It was controversial, which is great. He's being paid.
It improved.
He's being paid to learn how to make comic books, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that we're in that note, we're a ways from replacing mainstream. And I think the fastest way to get there is to be a meritocracy for sure. So quality has to, absolutely what Mr. Kilgore was saying, the books need to improve, which is fine. People are learning.
He's got one of the masters of comic books, working for him now. So, I think he's learning. I think in a couple of years from now, we're going to be like, wow, this came from these. I don't want to say humble.
He's working with the right guys. He's smart. Yeah. Originally, when he started, my advice to him was to find some of these guys that are independent like that are working and get them involved where he has the capital. And he absolutely nailed that. He took my advice and hired Mike Barron, who's incredibly awesome. And Chuck Dixon as well. And hopefully
and Joe Bennett on art, another legend. Yeah.
I hope that he's able to take the advice that they give him if he's able to do that. I think what we've seen from Eric July is that he struggled to take criticism. Hopefully he can take it from those guys in private. It's a different thing when it's public. He wants to protect his image or he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to, he may accept that as a defeat. He may accept that as a defeat if he accepts that what criticisms people were giving to him, even though they are apt. It remains to be seen.
Sent out my script.
I think that's the right direction. I think he definitely took the right direction by hiring those guys.
Yeah, I sent out my script for a couple of friends, and I got criticism, and I wanted to beat them up. You know what I mean? It's tough, but
it's hard to take it.
I didn't beat them up, and I listened to them. Some of it I thought was really, really good, and it improved me a lot. and some of it I was just like, I don't think you got what I was going for, and thank you.
And that's your judgment as a creator,
Right.
to be able to humbly take both of those criticisms and be
I
able to
tell you,
use
man,
what you
when
can
they
from
didn't
it.
tell me it was the greatest thing they ever read, I wanted to beat them up. You know what I mean? But that's so I don't have. This is my shot. You know what I mean? I got to listen to some criticism. I gotta be smart. I don't have an infinite bag of money behind me to help me out. So
Well, I know you're passionate, and I think you're a smart guy, and I would do whatever I
thank you.
could to help
No,
you if I could in any way. So,
oh, thank you,
uh,
thank you.
if you ever need anything, you definitely let me know. I really appreciate you platforming me and giving me an opportunity to talk. I love it.
This is fun for me. I again, 10 years from now, when you're a big comic book success, I can be like, I knew that guy. I helped him. That'll be fun. And I just want to say
That'd be
hello.
cool. Maybe I'll help you out in return. We'll do some great things. I mean,
Yeah.
you talked about financial and books doing well, and that's the thing where there's the competition and where narratives can kind of, even on both sides, narratives can either hinder or help. And there's things going on, but with money, ultimately, with a team like this, we've already landed seed funding for this project, for the comic books, for the Origin series. With funding, I can do some amazing things. I've got some friends that work in independent film. I've got some friends that work in VR gaming and at high level. Some dudes that already have global distribution in place, and who do world-class quality. So, it's not something, well, it's one step at a time. We're working on the Origin series, but I can tell you that any support and all support that goes into this is going to go right back into the pot for more production of art and projects. And we would like to grow this and get it to that point where we can do independent entertainment as well. And I would like to share that with the community. So I want to get that to a point where we can do some very cool projects. And the stuff that I have planned is not self-centered. None of this ever was. I would like to do projects that get the independent scene involved so that we can grow together. And I think that being a meritocracy and going forward and showing, like, doing projects that show essentially the who's who of independence, would be very cool, because it would get everybody involved. And then these projects, these high-end projects where we're doing media, would help us to get that exposure that we need to grow and take it to the next steps. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right now, we're just doing the coolest comic book in the industry, and so that's the first step.
You have art samples you wanted to show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Here, I'll share my screen so that we can show some of those.
I just want to say hello to Vault Cobalt. I've never seen your name before, so welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I always appreciate new people. And
hey, brother, thanks for coming.
Like and subscribe. I'm trying to make it to 1,000. Oh, here we go. You ready to share?
Just about. Yep, I'm in right now.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go. Here we go. Look at that. So
awesome.
What are we
Thanks,
looking
John.
at?
So what we're looking at here is my drive. These are the final pages. This book is complete. We've got the finished PDF file here that we used to print off the proofs, and I've got an extra cover here with the files that were used to build it. So this book is completely done. So when we launch this campaign and you purchase this, you're not going to have to wait for production. After the campaign is over, we're going to go directly into fulfillment. Yeah, this book is complete.
Oh, it's complete.
Yeah, it's complete now. This book is done. We're not asking for production money. We're making this book available.
Could you click on the cover and make it big so we can see it?
Yeah, we absolutely can. Yeah, I was just going to get into that. Thank you, sir.
Covers are, there we go. Look at that.
This is the cover by Kanan White, who
awesome.
He has some current work that
I'm familiar with him. He's a great talent. Who did the coloring? The coloring is outstanding.
The coloring is the interior colorist Iwan Triono. He's been a studio member and a friend for a while. He has some current work coming out this year for Marvel. Current 2023, he worked on the Iron Man card game.
Oh, nice.
That Marvel released this year. So
you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of like Laura DeProy, the artwork, the coloring rather, that she did on the Authority, which I thought was outstanding. This is really, oh wow, look at that.
So this is Hayward Saint here.
Look at him. I like that face. That guy, I don't know.
The story of Hayward, yeah, he's got quite a sneer on him, but it's good stuff. Hayward Saint is the agent, the retired agent who intercepts these heroes when an anomaly emerges. this energy anomaly. They go to investigate it, and these 8 beings step through, and
So Saint's the good guy, huh?
So Saint's the good guy, and he
With that
interrogates
face,
them
all
and
right.
asks them, and they reveal to him that they are 8 divine appointed heroes who were sent from a ruined future, and the guardian angels have given them a second chance to prevent Armageddon. And
Oh,
so
nice.
this is a retired agent who's seen some crazy shit in his career, and he
I'm digging that cover. I mean, you sent it to me, but I didn't expand it, so I'm really digging this. Kanan White is a phenomenal talent, so good job.
He's a member of our studio. I've been a friend. He's been a friend of mine since 2015. It was always going to be him. He's one of my favorite talents. So
Yeah.
I like this point in the cover where one of the demons, he's Komodos the dragon, has the demon's head in his mouth, and he's going to decapitate him. Yeah, and you get the shooting here.
It's funny because we were talking about Dungeons and Dragons. This looks like the perfect blend of Dungeons and Dragons and superheroes. I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's definitely got the fantasy aspects of it and influence, but in the science fiction.
Yeah, I like it. This
book represents my love of culture, and so it's got some tropes in it, but they're done my way, and I think they're done uniquely. I love this too here with Mammoth Monk. He's a pachydermian monk based. The inspiration for him was when the scientists found that the mammoth DNA. And I was just thinking, man, that's fucking crazy. What if we fuck that up? Like they're gonna bring back mammoths in 2024.
Yeah, that's not gonna go wrong. I've seen that horror movie before. Yeah.
This is like if it goes wrong, but horribly, right?
I like this. I'm pointing to the screen, like you can see. I like this guy with the machine gun. And what's that? A radioactive symbol on his chest?
This is a shotgun. Yeah, it's a radioactive symbol. This is Ultra Ghost, martial trainer code.
I like
name
that.
Ultra Ghost. Yep. Ultra Ghost is the leader of the group. And he's featured in the first issue. It's where he gets his powers when he emerges. And so you'll get to see.
What is this woman with the spell books? What's her name?
Her name is Ava Bexby, codename the Halvin. And so she is
the what? I'm sorry.
The Halvin, like a half. And that goes into the story. She's half of 2 races that were joined together to try to unite the human race in this future time period before its destruction. But it also has a story significance that we'll get into in the later issues.
I like that.
But as of now,
one of Big B's fist spells or something,
I thought that was very cool. Yeah, we scripted this and collaborated with Kanan, and I think he nailed it. It's very cool. And
and what is this knight's name here in the foreground?
This is Ulkin Phalix, the codename Intergalactic Knight, and he is a member of the Concurian race, which are these space pirate nomads.
I'm sorry, I'm traveling on your cover, buddy. I'm just really digging this.
No, that's cool. I love the questions, and I love to dig into it. I'm a geek, man, so I love this shit. This is the kind of conversation that I want to have with people.
Oh, good.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
With the fedora and the guns. I love that trope. The gun-toting fedora hero.
She is the Gix. I'll get into her in just a second. I'm just going to say about the Concurian. No, you're good. The Concurian Intergalactic Knight. These space nomads there. He has a cool, unique story. Each of these characters just could stand alone. They all have a backstory and they have a unique story attached to them. And so he is a member of the Concurian race, who is he's a refugee from these space pirates. And they were nomads because his family founded a religion that was based on their sun. It was a very primal type of religion, and they all worshiped the sun. And then it went red giant and destroyed their planet. And so the name Phalix, Ulkin Phalix, the traditional name of Phalix was which was once revered as their religion and had sacred value to them, became a name of pariah, and he had to flee his human race. And so the guardian angels chose him as a hero in this future race, and they gave him the power of that dead sun. And it manifested as a morning star. The morning star Phalix is light, and that's what his weapon is there. So that's his story. The lady in the fedora here is called the Gix, Gix. It stands for Gatehouse Internet Experiment. She is artificial intelligent life that became sentient, and she 3D printed herself a body from Shigella bacteria, which are bacteria.
From what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Well, Kanan did a great job, and so Yeah, he definitely nailed it, and she's a great looking character.
Yeah,
She's
like
she
I said, I'm a
represents
sucker
the
for that two-gun toting fedora person. I love that. So I mean, I know nothing about these characters, but I love her and Ultra Ghost.
and
Oh
she's
man,
a silly character. Her name
oh
is
really? She looks serious. Yeah,
she looks serious and she's a badass, but she's also a sentient being that's that has a 3D printed synthetic body, and she's also her personality of being, as far as being silly, is essentially her. It's called Gatehouse Internet Experiment, and that's what manifested her. So she's essentially, and I wrote this in 2015. This was essentially a prediction that ended up coming true, but she's a high-end database that's based off of the history of the human race. And
yeah.
so she took on internet culture and
Both
entertainment and
Cobalt
all the
says
things
he
that
needs
we,
that kind of 3D printer. He wants to do some sort of weird science experiment. If you remember that movie from the 80s.
yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm into all that stuff and I love it. And we were able to incorporate all the things I love about culture into this book.
Cobalt
It's
is
a
asking
title
if
I
we
will
can get
write
an
forever.
interior page. Can we get an
Yeah,
interior?
yeah, definitely. We want to go. I'll go into Darius Verma's pages here. This
Sure.
is where the origin story is here. Let me see if I can. Yep, getting close so we can see it. So, we're seeing on page 1 the emergence of the heroes that are coming from this broken world, and the angels are sending them back. And the demon, Azizu, who is the villain of the story, is trying to stop them. So he sends the Horsemen of Death, Graydon Thornstrom, is this character who is this representative on Earth. And so he sends them to try to stop them from coming back to our time.
I like the light source. And oh man, I like the lightning in the eyes. That's pretty cool.
And so here he is using his weapon, this demonic flail with his devil horse, and he's trying to stop them. And he managed to get Marshall Trainer as they're fleeing to the previous time period, to our time period. Here they are emerging. Marshall Trainer has died from the incident, seemingly, and when he emerges with the aspect of the spirit world, and he tells his love that he's returned from the infinite black for her. And so we get to see throughout this first story.
Beginning of the story. Like if I pick this up, I'm not going to be lost, right?
Right. Yeah, you pick this up. This is the beginning of the story, and that's the idea. Is a lot of people try to tell a story and they want to develop over issues, but we're writing a comic book, and this is a Western comic book in America. God fucking damn it! And so we're going to take you on a ride, and I'm not going to take you through the painful development of multiple issues of backstory before we get to any action. Right. These guys are seasoned heroes.
I was going to jump in head first and start like my comic with world building, and I realized it's just going to chase people away. So I backed off and rearranged my schedule. So my first issue, I think, is a nice tip of the iceberg to get people interested. So I appreciate that. But, I was worried that maybe you do too much too fast, but this is the beginning. So good. I like that.
Yeah. Like that was the method for it. Like you can do either way. And I think if you do it right, it works. But for me, I wanted to write a comic book that I want to read, and I didn't want to write the story that I want to tell is an artful story with artistic dialogue and narrative, but at a breakneck pace. And I want an action comic book. This is Western fucking comic books in America. God damn it. Let's do this. Let's get into the story. And so these are seasoned heroes. Right off of the bat, they've come from a destroyed planet, and they're at their best. And were defeated, and here they are emerging in our world for one more chance to fight the evil that they were unable to stop.
I am digging this, and it just looks like a perfect blend of Dungeons and Dragons and superheroes. I mean, I'm in. This is, you said you were making a comic for you, but this looks like a comic for me too. You'll see a lot of Dungeons and Dragons in my comic in subtle ways, because I can't help it. I've been playing D&D since I was 9 years old.
That was the point. It inspired many of us. These guys are great creators, and the method of creating story in Dungeons and Dragons, as far as like entertaining your friends, and so that they can come and play a game that you're heading, is the same skill that you need to create entertaining content for other people. And so getting into that early, I think all those old guys, Cook and of course Greenwood and Jim Ward and all the other greats, obviously Gary Gygax, you know, that was what they were trying to do, was inspire people to entertain other people and for people to have fun in these settings. What's that?
Were you the DM when you played?
I was sometimes. We would switch off. You know, I like being a player too. So
I haven't been a player in 30 years. I'm always a DM. Is that an Indian god inspired character? The story that got his head replaced by the elephant? I never heard that story.
Oh. Yeah, and no, that was completely inspired by that them discovering the mammoth DNA. So
yeah, you don't have to give the way of the comic. I just wanted to see this looks better than I expected. So good for you, man. I'm excited.
Andre Lunatic is an absolute genius.
What's his name?
Andre Lunatic. He is a Russian native. So
pronounced lunatic, like crazy
with a K. It's lunatic spelled with a K. Yep. Lunatic.
Okay. What a great name.
It's Andre Lunatic.
Comic book artist.
Yeah.
No, that is awesome.
It is a great name for a comic book artist, and it matches perfectly with our crew because, you know, ironically, his name's Andre Lunatic, and the guy that created this, as you can see, is a complete lunatic, but that's going to be part of its charm. And so the story here you can see the story you were talking about, the nuclear fallout, the radiation symbol. You can see here in the story where the origin of that comes from, where their Marshal Hayward Saint is telling him, hold on a second.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
A little sip of water. Let's wet the whistle. So Hayward Saint is here in the complex, and he's telling him, listen, I'm sorry, the radiation is there. It's not personal, but the government regulations, you have to wear this. People have to know it's not deadly to us, but it's there, and this is their policy. And so he's talking about it. He's talking about the event that happened at the beginning of the book, where this knight that represents the evil in the book, he's their champion, took a piece of his soul and left him for dead, but he was able to come back from the spirit world. It's what gave him his powers to be able to shift into the spirit world.
So when you launch this, how much is an issue going to be?
I think we're going to go in the ballpark of $25 for the collector's edition. And so this is a 29-page comic with as it stands now, 7 pages of bonus art. And so so that's where we're at now, but that could change. Everything that we add as far as artwork for stretch goals is going to go directly into the book, so that we'll try to fatten this book up and thicken it up for you. This is also the collector's edition, where you're going to be getting the last work of Dheeraj Verma, who was a legend in his own right. And so we'll be in that ballpark. I'm thinking more towards $20 for the collector's edition. In addition to buying the book, also any money that we make is going to go back into my company, Author Bomb Books, and we're going to use it to make more content for you. So just feel confident that not only you're getting the coolest book in comics today, but you're also going to be backing a cool new emerging company that's doing non-woke content, and we're going to hire top-end professionals and give you work that's of this quality. I mean, you go in tight. This isn't an amateur comic book. You can see that the line work and everything right down to detail. But this book is beautiful. When you get in close, this folds up all the way, and so you'll be able to see that quality. I like the character
designs. They're original. You know,
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, our guys work very hard. I worked with Joe Arnold. He is the artist on Thin Blue Line with Mike Barron. He's a good friend of mine. Joseph Arnold is the guy who did all of our early concept work. So him and I work very close, and I appreciate him.
Mike Barron's a great guy. I was just talking to him today. What a great guy.
He was a great guy and very talented as well. So, yep, we're very excited with this crew that we have. I think these guys nailed it, and this has been a long time coming, but this is my passion work, and I'm very happy to be able to share this with all of you. And thank you for having me on here so I could show people the quality.
Yeah, anytime. Yeah,
so you can see Mammoth Monk here in action.
This is what I started my channel, to talk to people about comic books, and look, that's what I'm doing. I'm talking to people about comic books, and you're making your own comics. This is awesome. You don't have to thank me. This is what I wanted to do. This is awesome.
We went over all of this stuff post creation with Ed when he gave it the final pass, and he said that we hit all of the notes on this. So we were looking to make something that's artistically written, so it's dialogue for nerds and readers. If you like literature, we wanted to get as close to that as we could, but also at a breakneck pace with action that's in your face. This is a dire smash through heroism, and we're redefining it. And so we hit all of those notes, and he also added that the characterizations shines.
It's got
so you mentioned that you like it.
When I read the comic, will I hear children screaming?
If you want. I mean, we aim to please. So I mean, it's the soundtrack of my life. So we will try to get, if we can, we will get it.
Now I'm laughing and coughing. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thanks, brother. I know it's quite the sound. My little guy's 4 years old, and he's nonverbal autistic. So that's him expressing his voice. And
I'm just teasing you, man. I'm just teasing.
No, absolutely. No, absolutely. I know. I was just explaining it because, I mean, yeah, other people have said it too. We've done some other streams and stuff, and it sounds like we're murdering children over here. I assure you that we don't murder children, and we definitely do it in the middle of
on the cover.
And we definitely don't do it in the middle of a week before a holiday. We don't murder children, at least not in the middle of a week before a holiday. It would just be bad timing today. So, and so, yeah, this page right here, I love this page, John.
Oh, let's see. What do you
personally
got?
And so we've got this page where we've got this yellow vehicle with the light, and the guy's singing. That's definitely not an ambulance, and it says "animal out of control," and you can see spray painted out of this repurposed animal control van that was implemented by the government to deploy Mammoth Monk.
That panel is awesome. The shadow elephant being, that is a cool panel. You're showing just enough, but not too much. It's good job right there.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, that was scripted to my taste, and he nailed it exactly on all of the. Considering the fact that English isn't his first language, he doesn't even fully speak it fluently. He can barely read it, and I think that he has an app so that we can communicate that will speak and translate it back to him. He had the script translated, so it was a process if we had to edit during the process, because I had to get it to him, and then there was some time because he had to have it translated so he could do the script. So he's a Russian native artist. Yep, we worked remotely on this, but he nailed all of the themes for it. This was absolutely what I imagined. That you've got the dark in the back, and he's pumping himself up for the fight that's coming. Immediately interrupted by this guy with an elephant gun who knew that they were coming, and he put shells through the side of the van. But Mammoth Monk's instincts was able to, and his quickness was able to, he was able to evade that and not have a grisly death and be punched full of holes with an elephant gun. These guys are ready for him, and so this is that scene emerging, and it turned out beautifully.
I can tell, the restraint with the dialogue. I think that's something I was struggling with too. I think it's a rookie mistake to want to fill every panel with dialogue, and you know what I mean. And I think if the artwork is well done, which it is, you don't need to. And then he kicked the door open as he's kicking the door open.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's a trick because a lot of people think that anybody can make a comic book, and especially writing a comic book. Anybody can write words, but I can tell you as an inexorable word nerd that words have power, and they are significant, and words do matter. And my job as a creator is to inspire my artists so that they're able to make a beautiful expression for you, and also write the dialogue and make something that's going to work together in a melody, essentially like a symphony. It's going to be many working parts all coming together. I can tell you as a nerd myself that you'll be absolutely happy with this purchase.
Look good.
It's not only
done, so how
not only the coolest. Absolutely. This was designed to not only be the coolest comic book in the industry, but it's also something for intellectual nerds. If you love literature, we hit that line. The art is absolutely beautiful, and the expression together between the words and the illustrations will be something that you can talk about with your friends as collectors, and contemplate the expressions, the stuff that I didn't want to show too much because I don't want to spoil.
Yeah, you don't want to give it away.
I don't want to give all of it away, but these expressions and these essentially in these themes and these things that we're presenting to you will be things that you can discuss and that you will enjoy. You're going to love this series.
how long before you start shipping? Because you said the comic's already done.
We are going to start the mailing on Sunday. I would like to do 30 days. But if we're, maybe earlier, but we're going to do about a 30-day mailing, and then I want to do a 60-day campaign. So we want to give as many people as we can the opportunity to get the collector's edition of this book. I mean, on top of everything that we spoke about, it's a historically significant book as well, where we're featuring the last work of my friend. And so we want to get you guys in on this issue 1. We've got all the original art for this project as well, so that's going to be made available in the campaign. I suggest you get a hold of it because we're not going anywhere. We were seed funded for the original, so we're going. There's nowhere to go but up. We also made a deal with the publisher, who was a friend of Diraj. He had a dream before he passed away to bridge Western culture, Western comics that he loved, and the rich culture of his homeland in India. And I talked with this publisher, and we're going to translate this book and make it available there.
Cool.
Diraj's surviving daughters, one is an artist and one wrote and contributed to this book. So you're going to get their work as well as the passing of the torch.
Is there a big comics culture?
There is through Animation Express, and they have a con circuit over there. And he wanted to bridge that gap between his love for Western culture and their obviously their culture is very rich. And they also have a con circuit. So we're going to translate this and we're going to make it available there so that his daughters can represent their father's work on their con circuit. It's already worked out, and we'll distribute it there. So we're doing an international release. And we're going to do a lot. We have a lot more on the table. You guys support. It's not only going to get you a copy of this, but it's also going to contribute to this goal to do this amazing origin series and to do more work. We're going to hire more of these pros. We're going to keep these guys working, keep this cool team together.
Yeah, I know India has been breaking out in board games. That's another one of my big hobbies is board games. And I know that there's been a lot all of a sudden of Indian board game designers, but I didn't know anything about Indian comics, So are American comics popular in India, or do they have their own comics?
They have their own comics. There's guys that are creating over there. Actually, Duraj Verma himself, before he came over, was doing comics in India that were Indian things that he created as well. So yeah, definitely check it out. I mean, it's not. I think that the Western comic scene definitely came out first, obviously, and inspired the other scenes that came afterwards. But I mean, it's all inspired by lore and legend.
Yeah.
And the ones that came before us, potentially Dungeons and Dragons, or even legend lore, open source material. I mean, you take like projects that are inspired by Universal Monsters, or that are inspired by the Animal Kingdom, inspired by there's always art and culture have been a part of the human race since we were scratching with rocks on cave walls. You know what I mean? So expression is something that's ingrained into us. It's instinctual, and so it's something that's very primal. It's something that you have to learn as a developed skill, but it's definitely something that's inside of us already. And I think Hayward Saint Sade is a representation of that for me. It's this lion spirit beast that was inside of me that's just been dying to get out, and this is my way to channel it. So
cool.
And we were able to nail that and capture that essence of raw creativity and channel it and culture it into this thing, and it turned out beautifully. It exceeded expectations.
Yeah, looks good. Looks good. And you said 2 weeks you're gonna launch, so you're
it's Sunday, so it's less than a week away. We're gonna be about 4 days away. So we're gonna launch the mailing list on Indiegogo. You can follow all my social media is at Ryan Tyler Palmer. So let me see here if I think I can type that in the chat so that everybody knows.
Yeah, put that, and then when you launch, send it to me, and I'll edit. I'll put it in the description, so if anybody checks this out and is curious, they have a direct link.
Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, we're gonna need everybody's help. I say this. I'm very passionate about this, and I love this, and I know that I have a lot to gain through financial of this. But I can tell you that there's been some narratives, and I know there's people that don't want this book to come out. SJWs have already taken a shot at me. They canceled my tabletop work, and for sticking up for Peter Samedi online. directly afterwards, my work was plowed under, and they refused to sell it back to me for what they paid me to write it. Yes, they refused to publish a lot of work. I think there was like 2 years worth of work into those projects. And
the most harmless guy in comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they went after him too. Yeah, they don't want. He's been doing very well, and people like Peter. And they have talented creators over there, and they don't want him to exist.
Peter Simeti has Alterna Comics that publishes Wolf and Batsy and Horace H. Hoover and Blood Realm, and they're all great comics, and they're on newsprint and at $2 a piece. Why would you?
Yeah, I supported his crowdfund for the newsprint when he was when he crowdfunded that. I remember I've been a supporter for a while, so I was sticking up for him online, and very short. And some people that were there on the opposition were people that were close and in the con circuits that I was doing. And then shortly afterwards, my work was. My old boss told me my work was not getting released, and I asked to purchase it for what he paid me to write it, and he refused. So my work got plowed under. I lost 2 years of work. I also got a threat from the guy who owns the con circuit that I was doing. And so I mean, they'll come for everybody. It's not just me. And on the independent side, as far as like influencers and people who speak for our culture, it's been very quiet on all fronts for this book, but hopefully with your support we can overcome all of that, and we can get our market closer to a meritocracy, give people cool books, and hire cool talents, and be able to get Western culture back on track and make American comics great again.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's a good ending. Yeah,
we're not going anywhere. We're seed funded, so
good for you.
I mean, people can just fuck off with that shit. We definitely need help though, as far as promoting. We want to get this to as many people as we can, and we've done everything we can to remove backer doubt, and to restore backer confidence. The book's completely done.
What more? You know what I mean? That to me instills the most confidence.
It's absolutely done, and you can see the quality. And we've got a letter of recommendation from the most prolific fantasy writer alive on stories. So you're going to get a gem. We want to put a win right in backers' hands. So this is a sure thing. When you back this, you're going to get a beautiful piece for your collection.
Thanks. All right. I usually cap these off at an hour. So, because I find that.
No, that's fine, John. That's great. This has been awesome. I love talking with you. I hope we get a chance to do this again. And so I don't have to do it at a time when I'm not talking about myself. I'm coming up on my campaign, and I fucking hate talking about myself.
It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And
I'd like to do this on a time when there's nothing on the table, when we can just hang out and fucking talk. You have to come on my channel sometime when we get the guys
anytime.
on.
I love it. We'll talk about who would win in the fight, Spider-Man or Batman or something, or the mammoth.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you me. I was like, Jesus, it wasn't that bad. You're not gonna beat me up, are you? I have to keep an eye over my shoulder. No. John, I think you got the experience on me, so I'm watching you.
No, I would say we'll talk about who would win in a fight, Spider-Man or Batman.
Oh yeah, well that would be a good fight. Yeah, I saw that online. Somebody was arguing about that.
Yeah, that's great.
I love those kind of conversations.
Drama I want to deal with in the comic book world. I don't want to hear this jealousy. When I hear a campaign successful and people making money, that makes me feel good.
Well, I had an argument online with.
I think jealousy is death. It
I had
destroys the soul. Yeah. And it gives you nothing. So I just cheer on everybody,
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's where I'm at this year too. I don't have time for that shit anyway.
Right.
It's very time consuming. I've been less judgmental, and I've just been focused on work. I mean, we landed funding at the beginning of the year, so it's been a great year for me anyway. I'm very good with it.
Good for you, man.
We were able to do it with 200 YouTube subscribers, so it's a miracle in itself. And this book portrays a miracle. I think it just goes into the universal irony. You were talking about who's beating up who, and it's very interesting that you said that. Ethan and Ben Skyper and myself had an argument online on who would win, Mammoth Monk or Cyberfrog, and we got into it a little bit of who would win. And so I think that Mammoth Monk could take him, but I think that if he had his upgrade from Jelson, I think with weapons might be tipped in his favor, but we'd have to see. You never know if things do well. People might want to see that someday. They might want to see that grudge match of the hairy Pachydermy and Monk
You
versus
know who would win if
Frog versus a Monk.
Mammoth, Monk, and Cyberfrog fought? The winner would be the Readers. There you go.
Yeah, you never know. We'll see.
All right.
But we never know what's going to happen. You don't know what the future is going to be.
All right, but that's it. We're gonna end tonight because I can't my eyes open any longer. I'm
you're kicking me out? Get me another drink, Marky. You're kicking me out already. Get me another drink, Marky.
You could stay and talk to the blue screen, but I fade. I wake up at 4, and by this time I'm ready for bed, even though it's Thanksgiving. But thanks you, and I'm looking for this. Send me the link so I can put it in the description. You know, the comic's gonna happen. You know, it's already done. So this is probably the surest bet in all of crowdfunding, I think, or at least that I know about. Right?
You're gonna love this book. Absolutely, you're right on that, John.
All right, thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks, Ryan, for coming.
Thanks for coming, everyone. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and thank you, John, for having me. This was very cool.
You got it.